Force lightning was one of the most difficult techniques for a Sith to master. Only a select few like Darth Sidious and his apprentice Darth Tyrannus were able to conjure the powerful bolts of electricity. But when we look at Anakin Skywalker, in the short time after he was turned to the dark side, but before he was mutilated in the aftermath of his duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi, we have to wonder, did he ever use Force lightning? Join us as we answer this question and more in today's Underrated Moment. When we look back through the history of the fall of the Republic and the short time that Anakin Skywalker was a complete whole version of himself, it seems like there was hardly any time for the new Sith to learn how to project lightning. In fact, even if Anakin had more time in his perfect form before being chopped to pieces by Obi-Wan on Mustafar, it's unlikely that Skywalker would have learned Sith lightning by the end of the year. It was an advanced Sith technique, one that Darth Maul could never really use despite his decades spent studying the dark side. But decades later, following the confrontation between Palpatine's new apprentice, Kylo Ren, and his granddaughter, Rey Skywalker, on the dune-covered world, Pasaana, we discovered something. In a rare feat, Rey stretched out her hand, and overwhelmed by the strain of holding an ascending starship in place, a bolt of electricity erupted from her hand. Her natural connection to the Force, thanks to her lineage as a Palpatine, combined with their own overwhelming emotions, allowed her to use a technique that took most Sith years to master. And so, when we take a second look at the Chosen One, Anakin Skywalker, and wonder if he could have done the same, the obvious question seems like, yes. But much like Darth Maul, Skywalker didn't have the patience to study ancient lore and spells. Often in his youth, when Obi-Wan tried to teach him simple techniques like mind trick or animal bond, Skywalker would fail. After a minute or two of training his mind through the Force, trying to accomplish the Force technique, Skywalker would quit and quickly ignite his lightsaber to hack through whatever obstacle he was trying to overcome. In mission after mission, Skywalker demonstrated that he much preferred the power he commanded through his dueling prowess over the power of the Force. After falling to the dark side and becoming Darth Vader, Skywalker only had a brief period of time where he would actually, physically be capable of producing Sith lightning too. In order to conjure the power, a Sith needed to have arms to conduct the swelling electrical bolts that surged from the dark side. With no arms, and the fragile circuitry within his life support unit, Vader couldn't be able to even attempt to produce Force lightning after his failure on Mustafar. And in the short time before, Skywalker probably didn't care enough to attempt the technique. After all, he probably assumed he had the rest of his life to learn how to shoot electric bolts from his hands. He could have never foreseen his defeat and the horrible mutilation he would suffer at the hands of his former master, Obi-Wan Kenobi. And always one to favor lightsaber skills over Force techniques, Skywalker probably didn't care to try it anyways.